Well, Andy, how are you today, man? I am fired up to have you with us because I'm so excited about this topic. So let's set the stage a little bit. Like a week ago, this wasn't in your head, but it was in your head whenever you were at this event. Tell people a little bit about where you were and where you heard this.
Yeah, terrific. So I had the pleasure of attending the EOS Worldwide Conference last week. It was in Indianapolis, and we talked about EOS and the process and the system, as well as a couple of really great keynote speakers that came in. And one of the great keynote speakers that was there was Dr. Benjamin Hardy.
So let's back up a little bit. In the event, somebody is hearing you say they're not sure what you said. EOS, yes, I don't know what that is. Explain that to them.
So EOS stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. It all stems from one of Gino Wickman's books called Traction. And in Traction, he discusses and just really dives into how you take a business and create a very successful model out of it. So in business himself, he honed in and dove into how to create that great practice. And he built a really substantial, sustainable kind of system that is now being broadcast out. Last I'd heard, they've got over 20,000 users on the EOS platform right now, growing and growing from there. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and this is, most of you know this as you're listening to this because this is an internal video, but most of you know that this is what we're building our entire coaching platform on. So it's, as you listen to this, wherever you sit, this is something that you can use for your structure to build your business as a solopreneur if you don't have a team, and as an entrepreneur if you do. So there you are, there is this keynote. I recognize the name as him being a co-author with Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach, who is arguably like the godfather of executive coaching in North America. And he's just the man. So tell us about this. And did you sort of know what you were getting into with this guy, or first time and you didn't know?
So a little bit of both, right? I love to go organically into a speaker when I don't know much about it. And I like to just be absorbed in the energy that he's creating. So I knew a little bit about his history, but I didn't do a ton of background and study. And I really wanted to focus in on the topic because the big topic he was talking about was 10X versus 2X. And it's the story of the new book that they've got. 10X is easier than 2X, right? And so that's another collaborative effort that he and Dan Sullivan have been working on. In addition to that, Dr. Benjamin Hardy also wrote another book called Developing the Future Self. And he brought both of those two intersections together during his conversation.
So you're talking to loan officers right now. Bring it down to their world, Andy, as a coach who day in, day out is coming alongside LOs and having conversations and listening to them and helping them to frame up their activities to get them to where they want to go. Bring this down to their level so that this is like boots on the ground as an LO. What does this mean to me?
Yeah, I love that. So the way that Dr. Hardy kind of fleshed it out, right? He talked about the fact that we've got our present self. And our present self is defined and created and generated by the activities and the actions of our past. Also as well, it's defined and created by the activities of our future. But looking back first, we look back and those experiences, those things that we've done have molded us and shaped us to who we are today. And historically, we kind of look back at that, and sometimes we see some of those things in a negative light. When we see those things in a negative light, then that tends to bring that negative atmosphere into our present self. And so we have to be super diligent to understand that all of the troubles, all of the anxiety, the problems, the issues that we came through were all vehicles that grew us to the betterment of who we are today. And so instead of regretting those challenges that we had, we have to embrace them and be excited about them because they're the ones that have strengthened you to where you are today. And so it's this reframing of the way that you're looking at historical events. In the same way, he's also bringing that forward, right? We look to those future events. And like currently, we're in a really, really challenging market, right? There isn't this huge light at the end of the tunnel. And if there is, everybody thinks it's the next train coming to knock them off the track, right? So we're looking at it with this negative perspective about the worry, the concern about what's coming on. And there's some real stuff there. I don't mean to say that there isn't, but we have to be careful of that. Because if we only focus in on the challenge and the negative of it, then that's going to also shape our present self now, and it causes us to behave and act in a very specific way in alignment with that future vision of who we're about to become. So just like we did in the past, we have to reframe that vision. We got to reframe the way that we're looking at the things for the future. So now, instead of seeing those challenges and obstacles as problems and hurdles that are going to hold us back, we have to embrace them as the amazing developments that they're going to be to grow us into that next version of ourselves.
Nice.
The difference between a 2X and a 10X person, somebody who is 2X is going to just be reactive to what's going on. Somebody who is 10X is going to reframe the view of what those future events look like so that they can use it to its fullest ability to really grow and develop them into the people that they need to be.
So good.
It's just an old saying, right? That smooth seas never made a skilled sailor.
Absolutely.
Exactly the notion that he's dialing in on.
So good.
These are the rough seas that are going to hone our skills.
Nice. Yeah, man, I love that. So if I'm hearing you correctly, to just kind of recap, it's like, don't forget the things that have happened in the past, including the mistakes and the scar tissue that we build. And, in personal relationships, it's like that old Rascal Flatts song, God bless the broken road that brought me straight to you. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like we acknowledge it, but we don't live there. And instead to reframe our present self, where we are right now, our mindset towards our daily activities, looking out towards our better future, which we know is coming. Am I
Absolutely
recapping that correctly?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
And then also focusing in on the brighter side of that better future. And that becomes what our vision is of where it's going to take us, not how it's going to challenge us as we get there.
So good. Well, Andy, I love that you were a guy in a room with how many people?
About 2,000.
So you guys think about this. Andy's in this room making notes with 2,000 people, and he captured this in a way to bring it back to you at this moment to inspire you. You have the ability right now to listen to this, maybe go back and listen to it again. Let it reframe the way that you engage with your day and you look at your better future. Andy Knutson, thank you so much, man, for making the effort. We so appreciate you, Coach, and thanks for pouring into all of us today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bill.
You bet.